We are going to take a trip down memory lane back to 2018 to one of the most anticipated royal weddings of our time. It's hard to forget the global excitement leading up to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's wedding. The world was abuzz with anticipation, the grandeur of a royal wedding, the beauty of the bride-to-be, the charm of the prince. It was all anyone could talk about. And then in the midst of the whirlwind of wedding preparations, a scandal erupted. The media, in a frenzy for any juicy tidbit, seized upon a story. Meghan made Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, cry. This alleged incident was blown out of proportion, amplified by the echo chamber of the media. The story was repeated, magnified, distorted. Tabloids feasted on it, pundits debated it, and the public was left with a tainted image of Meghan. But what was the truth behind this so-called royal scandal? Fast forward to 2025, we find ourselves in possession of a different narrative, a confirmation from someone who was in the room where it happened. Ajay Mirpuri, the royal tailor, has spoken up, and his words align with what Meghan had quietly revealed years ago. It was Kate who made Meghan cry, not the other way around. Let's take a moment to let that sink in. The truth of the matter, according to Mirpuri, was a matter of ill-fitting bridesmaid dresses, not a clash of royal personalities. The stress, the pressure, the last-minute changes, they all contributed to a heated moment, a moment that was turned into a scandal by the media, a scandal that unfairly painted Meghan as the villain. The world was fed a narrative. Meghan made Kate cry. But today, we're going to unravel the truth. We're going to delve into the details, the behind-the-scenes moments, the real story. Because the truth has a way of revealing itself no matter how long it takes. And as we look back on that countdown to the royal wedding, we find that the truth is far more complex and far more interesting than the scandal the media painted. Fast forward to 2025, we have a revelation from the royal tailor, Ajay Mirpuri. His account tells a different story. In the midst of the pre-wedding chaos, all the little bridesmaid dresses, including Princess Charlotte's, were off the mark. The girls were in tears, the mothers were under stress, and instead of calmly handling the situation, Kate reportedly demanded a complete redesign of all the dresses mere days before Meghan's wedding. And who did she turn to for this 11th hour royal disruption? Her favorite designer, Alexander McQueen. While Meghan and her team at Givenchy were striving to keep the peace, Kate decided to add fuel to the fire. She pushed for brand new dresses from her own favored fashion house, as though it were her own wedding. This wasn't just thoughtless, it was a power play under pressure. And what's worse? This truth was never reported by the media. Instead, they weaponized the entire ordeal against Meghan. The palace let it fester. The British tabloids ran with it like it was a game for years. They transformed a high-stress moment into a character assassination campaign. And Meghan? She remained silent. Even when she was being ripped apart daily by the press. Even when she was navigating family betrayal, dealing with her father's tabloid stunts, and preparing for a wedding that the entire world was watching, she did not retaliate. She did not go public. She did not set the record straight until 2021. And even then, she did it with dignity. I didn't make Kate cry, she made me cry, but she apologized. That's what Meghan said, calmly, gracefully, no smear, no drama, just truth. And now in 2025, the tailor has corroborated her version of events, word for word. The truth has finally come out, revealing a decades-long pattern of institutional protection, not for the truth, but for optics. The royal family let a black woman take the fall, repeatedly, to shield their English rose. So, it appears that Meghan was not the villain of this story after all. The media played a significant role in shaping the narrative around this incident. Let's delve into their part in this scandal. The media, particularly the British tabloids, took this incident and weaponized it against Meghan. They took a moment of stress, a moment of wedding chaos, and spun it into a story of a demanding, difficult bride. They turned a single incident into a campaign to assassinate Meghan's character. But the media didn't just report the story. They sensationalized it. They inflated it. They repeated it until it became the only narrative. They turned Meghan into a villain, a demanding diva making unreasonable demands. They painted a picture of a bridezilla, causing tears and tantrums over bridesmaid dresses. But the real story, the real truth, was buried beneath layers of sensationalism and scandal. The real truth was that Meghan was under immense pressure, dealing with last-minute dress alterations, family betrayals, and the weight of a royal wedding. And yet, the media chose to ignore this. They chose to focus on the scandal, the drama, the easy headline. They chose to perpetuate a narrative that suited their agenda, that sold papers, that got clicks. They chose to ignore the woman behind the headlines, the human being dealing with an impossible situation. Instead, they chose to protect their own interests. They protected their access to the royal family, their relationship with the palace. They chose to protect the image of the English rose, even if it meant tearing down another. They knew the truth. They knew the real story, but they chose to ignore it, to bury it, to twist it. They chose to weaponize a moment of stress, a moment of wedding chaos against a woman who was just trying to navigate an impossible situation. And the palace? They let it happen. They let the media tear Meghan apart, day after day, headline after headline. They let the media turn a moment of stress into a character assassination campaign. It's clear that the media had their own agenda, and it wasn't about reporting the truth. Despite the media onslaught, Meghan chose to remain silent. Let's explore why. In the eye of a storm, standing tall amid a whirlwind of unfounded allegations and twisted narratives, Meghan held her peace. She bore the brunt of the media's relentless attacks, the palace's silence, and the public scrutiny, all while preparing for one of the most anticipated weddings in royal history. Why, you ask? Why didn't she lash out, go public, set the record straight? Why didn't she shout from the rooftops that it was Kate who made her cry, not the other way around? The answer lies in the very essence of Meghan. She is a woman of grace, of dignity, of strength. She chose to navigate the stormy seas with a calm that was both baffling and inspiring. She chose not to add fuel to the fire, not to play into the hands of the media, not to engage in a public spat that would have only served to entertain the tabloids. Instead, Meghan bore it all. She bore the false accusations, the character assassination, the blatant racism. She bore the betrayal of a father who chose to side with the tabloids. She bore the silence of a palace that should have protected her. And when she did choose to speak in 2021, it was not with bitterness or resentment, but with the calmness of a woman who knows her truth. I didn't make Kate cry. She made me cry, but she apologized, Meghan said. No smear, no drama, just truth. And here we are in 2025 with the royal Tailor confirming her version of events word for word. It wasn't about the flower girl dresses, it was about power, control, and the palace's willingness to sacrifice Meghan Sussex on the altar of public perception. Meghan handled the situation with grace and dignity, choosing to speak her truth only when she was ready. And that, dear listeners, is why Meghan chose to remain silent. Her silence was not weakness, but strength. It was not evasion, but dignity. It was not fear, but courage. And that is the mark of a true queen. Now, the truth has been exposed, but what does this reveal about the royal family and the media? For one, it unearths an age-old pattern of institutional protection that prioritizes appearances over honesty. The royal family allowed Meghan, a woman of color, to bear the brunt of public scrutiny and criticism, merely to safeguard their English rose, Kate. Understand this. It wasn't about the flower girl dresses. It wasn't about the wedding. This was about power and control. The palace was more than willing to sacrifice Meghan Sussex on the altar of public perception, all to maintain its carefully curated image. And the media? They were complicit. The same tabloids that painted Meghan as difficult, demanding, and impossible to work with knew the truth. They had access to the same circles and the same information. Yet they chose to tear down Meghan because that's what sold. It brought them headlines, revenue, and page views. They were more interested in their bottom line than in reporting the truth. This scandal reveals a sobering reality about the royal family and the media. It underscores the lengths they will go to protect their own interests, even if it means sacrificing a woman who was new to the royal life and who was trying to navigate its complexities with grace and dignity. And Meghan? Despite being torn apart, she remained silent. She didn't retaliate. She didn't go public. She didn't set the record straight until she was ready. And even then, she did it with dignity. Meghan's response to this ordeal is a testament to her strength and resilience. It's a lesson in grace under pressure. The revelation of this truth has exposed the royal family and the media's role in perpetuating a false narrative. It has laid bare the palace's willingness to protect its image at all costs. It has shown us that the media is not always a reliable source of truth. This wasn't about dresses, it was about power, control, and public perception.